on another trip down the voices and the faces of love. And I'm so excited because with me right now is Arnold Kelly. And I don't remember when Arnold started working at Love, but boy, we're going to talk so sitting today. Hello, Arnold.
Hello, how you doing? How you
I
doing?
am good. I'm so happy to see you. It's been years, right? I
Well,
mean, we
yes.
talk every now and again,
And and you say you don't remember, let me remind you, the 5th of May, 1994.
Oh, that's when he started? You're
Yes.
good. I remember when I started because it was the anniversary date, but that's
Yes.
the 5th
Yes.
of May.
Yes, 1994, which was 1 year
Wow.
after the anniversary, after
After the
the
anniversary, 1 year and change.
anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah, after
few,
the birth,
few months
right?
after the first anniversary, yes.
So let's start with this that I've been starting with everyone. What was your first interaction, the first time you heard about love? Not when you came to work there, but when you heard about love, what was going through your mind? What was this love 101 or what is what yeah.
I guess I was somewhat on the inside track because in Montego Bay I was at Radio West, and which became
Hmm.
Radio Waves. It was JBC Radio West, which
Yes.
became Radio Waves, and Winston Rigard was
That
one
name
of
coming up
the
again, you know.
yes, and his name will forever be spoken
Forever. Oh my
ever.
goodness. Yes.
Yes, and so when he left Radio Waves and came back to Kingston, we were having a conversation, and he told me about this new radio station that's coming up, and it's going to be all gospel. And because he knew that I was one who really pushed gospel music where I
Yes.
was, he said to me, "Boy, I mean, you never know. I might need to call you." But then when it came on, I won't ever forget. I was in a part of Montego Bay known as Albion. You would know Albion, and heading up towards Norwood, towards Paradise.
Yes.
And for some reason, I was in a car, and when my friend, he stopped at his gate, and I just was fiddling with the radio, and I put it on. It was 101.7 alone that was up
Wow.
at the time, and I put it there, and I actually heard gospel music being played. So I called
Wow.
Mr. Rigard and I said, "Hold on, I'm hearing the station in Montego." He said, "No, it's not possible." I said, "No, listen," and then I I I said to him, oh, "Hold on, but how is this possible?" He said, "Well, I think these signals travel on the wings of angels. We give the wind a mighty voice."
Oh my God. Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
and I got excited then because at that time there was no radio station in Jamaica that played straight gospel, and
Yes.
I was not very comfortable, in the secular, and he knew that, and so I was very excited when I heard about it.
Wow. I can just imagine the excitement. So it wasn't planned at the time for it to be
No,
reaching Mobe, but
no.
somehow it was on the wings of, or I'm saying, giving the wind.
On the wings of angels, he said, "We give the wind a mighty voice."
That sounds just like the Sarin God true. So
Yes.
then, so you weren't comfortable being where you were. I mean, you were working, so you have to honor your place.
Don't get me wrong.
But
I loved working with the people I worked with and all
yes,
that. But then I got uncomfortable in a situation where here it is, where I'm working in a secular environment when in
yes,
fact there is a radio station that does straight gospel.
right.
And so I wanted to go, and yet at the same time, I told myself one thing: I would never go to Kingston to live and work, not for love nor money. I ended up going for love FM.
I love it. I love it. So the opportunity comes and you
Yes.
are hired. What was that feeling
It,
like? You must
it was,
feel
let
like
me
you
tell you,
are
it's a
on
complex
Kupalik.
one, It's a complex one because if you remember, every what was it? Wednesday and I'm trying to remember if it was Monday and
The
Wednesday.
Caribbean, the Caribbean.
No, before the Caribbean hour, we used to send. There was a taste of glory.
Oh
Do you
yes.
remember that?
Oh
Yes,
my
and
God.
and believers praise.
Yes.
So I used to send those tapes. I used to record those 15-minute programs and rush to the airport, send them on Trans Jamaica to get to Love FM on time to be played. And
Look.
so my voice was on the station long before I got there. On top of
Yes.
that, when Mr. Redgard came to Montego Bay to do, he came to Trelawney to do the Hague show, and he asked me
Oh, I
if
remember that.
yes, if I could, assist him with the technicals. So I went, and I was there, and he gave me the equipment, and I set them up, because that was my thing. That's where I started,
Yes,
technical, full
yes.
technical. And so I set up the equipment, and when I was finished, um, it was about time for the broadcast to begin, and I was handing in the mic, and he said to me, "No, you're doing the broadcast." So, and I figured afterwards that I got the feeling, based on something else that he said later on, that some of the decision makers would have been listening, and he wanted to get them to hear what I could do, and
Yes.
so that was his way of doing it, and he just threw me in the water. Many people say I do that to them. Yes,
Ooh.
but maybe that's where I got it from.
Where you got it from?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. What was the journey like? You are thrown into love and you are
Oh
now at
boy.
love. What did you
What
come
was
over as first? It was technical, then announcer, or both?
Yes, well, actually, producer presenter, but I didn't have a show at the beginning. So much of my work had to do with the technical side, and then I got. I know you would not even remember this. I got a short uh, segment between Alan and Colleen. Do you remember that? That was a short, and it lasted a short time because
Like
it was
how
short,
short?
like very short. Like I think it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours. Yes, just for a short period. Um, and then afterwards, I did some other things. I would be like the standby announcer whenever anyone would be off. So
Yes.
Markland would be off, and I would be working night, to morning, and so on, until I got the Sunday show. I got Sunday
Right.
Cavalcade.
Yes, yes.
Oh no, Sunday Cavalcade was it was really weird.
Sorry.
No, um,
Sunday
uh,
showcase.
Sunday Showcase, right?
Yes.
And so I settled into Sunday Showcase, which in fact turned out to be a very important program for the station because of the numbers at the time, and considering that Jamaica, had such a large religious following.
Right.
It did a lot for the Sundays, and we were in some instances ahead of all the other radio stations on a Sunday. I know you,
On
you
a
can remember
Sunday.
that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a beautiful experience. And so I worked at the time. Um, I remember we had like hospital calling. No, this was
Yes. Four to
absolutely
five, three to
beautiful.
four. Yes.
Right. To start out with Reverend Bishop Blair.
Yes.
And then we had Delroy Chambers, DC, who came in for a while.
Yes.
Yes, and then Reverend Dr. Byron Chambers.
Diamond
Awesome times
Chambers.
back then. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Beautiful times. And we did all that we did. I mean, what are some of your memories, fun memories, back in the
A
day?
lot.
As we, yes, how holy no one's with that all day,
Too
but
many to mention.
give me
But
some jokes, some
uh,
laughing.
I think I think one time when we were doing when we were launching Love TV, and it was just the joke about it would have been basically just me in there. And then this young man walked in one day, and Mr. Reed God said, "Hey, he's he has some interest. Let's see what, and so O'Neill was there. But then by the time the day of the launch, he asked another um, person to join us, to assist us. Turns out that was Clement, who came from the Catholic, yes, from the Catholic, what was it? The
Yes.
Catholic Center, because they had a production center there. And I remember
Yes.
the day when we launched on Channel 17. Yes. And that
Which
was,
you could pick up on.
you'd get it over the air on Channel 17, but then you'd have to be educating people as to how to differentiate between Channel
So,
17 and the channel 17 for cable and Channel 17 for UHF. So we
well,
had
we've
to,
come a
yeah,
long way.
it was a rough ride,
We've
and
come a long way.
but I remember quite a number of events. And
Hiccups.
look here, yeah, Colleen is going to be vexed with me for telling you this one. I remember one day, yeah, Colleen and I had a little argument, and and that was like a Friday or the day before a holiday or something, and for the next 2 days, both of us had the most difficult time trying to pass one another and not say morning or evening. But it was very obvious that both of us would at least grumble something. So the joke about it is, I was on my way to, guess where? Hague Show. And you will remember that when I'm at the agricultural show and Colleen is in studio, it is like, look, I don't care which other broadcast you did or anybody else, but that was the best broadcast ever. Me outside and Colleen in the studio. So I'm going, but remember we're not talking. Remember we're not talking. So I'm heading down and I'm like, what am I going to do?
We're going to do this.
It's gonna work. And believe me, I mean, let me tell you something. When I think it was either 10 or 11 o'clock, and she turned that mic on and she said,
Yes.
well, today it's a holiday and we're bringing you Hague Show. And I tell you something, Hague Show isn't Hague Show without Arnold Kelly. Arnold is on location. Arnold, what's it look like out there? And believe me, I think it was one of the best broadcasts ever.
Wow.
And the morning we came back to office and we just hugged each other.
Oh.
I will always remember that, because the fact is, it's ridiculous to pretend that people won't have misunderstandings.
Exactly. Family, in your family, you have
Yes.
misunderstandings and disagreements, but to
Yes,
make it work.
But that was just the most awesome experience for me,
Yes.
and I talk about it all the time because I say, that's what professionalism looks like.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I learned a lot from that experience. So no, she's not gonna kill me after all.
Oh my goodness. Love has impacted so
Yes.
many persons' lives. Those of us who have worked and are working, and those who listen. You are now the general manager at NCU. And what would you say you because I have to say this though. I tell people when I'm training that we must always be open to learn, because you can't think that you know everything. And I remember I think there was a commercial I'd done, and Arnold called, I think you have to pronounce, this was just like about 3 years ago or something like that. And my thing was like, oh yes, okay, thank you. And Brap, and I appreciate that kind of a thing, that we can still have that kind of connect, that kind of relationship, and be open to learn.
Yes. And I think one of the most amazing things about this kind of relationship and the family feeling is, for me, when I left, and I literally had to count it to see how many years it was, somebody called me. There was a problem with something in the studio, and they called me, and I told the person, okay, all right, if that is going like that, okay, do this, do that, problem solved. But then I said, wait, but you keep my number, man. And the person said to me, no, it's still on the speed dial. I'm like, really? And then I checked. 7 years after I left love, my number was still on the speed dial.
It's still there.
And it gave me a good feeling, because I'm saying, this is how I would want to feel about myself, leaving somewhere and still having that kind of relationship.
Graces. Yes.
Right. And other persons leaving where I am, and we still have that kind of relationship. It's absolutely beautiful. But I think for me, though, Nadine, I think you asked me about memorable moments, and I think I want to go back to that question, because I won't forget one night a lady called me, and it happened twice. And until today, I still can't figure it out. But two different people. But let me tell you about one.
Mm-hmm.
The lady called. She was on the verge of taking her own life, and she had the means to do it. And she explained to me in detail what she was going to do, what she had with her, and so on. And long and short of it, I ended up, kind of softening her up to the point where she was willing to listen, and to listen to someone else, because I got someone else on the line. And I got two people on the line. One person who dealt with, because her problem was drug related, right? So someone who could deal with that. And also I called Pastor Glenn Samuels, who took over the conversation and what have you. However, what really puzzled me, and I'm telling you, the same thing happened twice with two different people. The lady kept asking me in the end, how did I know that I should call her? And I said to her, no, I didn't call you. You called me. She said, no, I did not call you. The phone rang and I picked it up.
Wow.
And until today, I don't know. I tell you, and I know you've had to deal with some situations that have been quite similar. I remember we used to have a joke about it. It's like, Nadine is having a wonderful time in the inner glow and whatever. And then all of a sudden, you just hear street music. You're like, okay, somebody with problems. And then, and it is just amazing how God was able to use us feeble human beings to impact lives of individuals we never made eye-to-eye contact with in so many cases.
That's amazing. That's an amazing testimony. So her phone is ringing and your phone is ringing.
Yes.
So two of on a phone ringing, that's totally God.
God made the call.
Well, yeah, because I love it. God made the call.
God made the call. I mean, the station's phone just kept flashing.
And her phone was ringing.
And her phone was ringing.
And you say it happened twice.
It happened twice. Another situation, very similar, but yes, a much younger person. And this person was a high school student, actually. And she asked me the very same question. Why did you call me? Why did you call me?
God. I didn't. Amazing much. Arnold Kelly, General Manager at NCU. I'm so proud of you. So very proud of you. I'm going to check if we still have your number on the speed dial. I'm going to check.
If the same phone system is there, it probably is.
It probably is. But thank you. I think I remember when you left. And I decided, at the time I was in charge of that. And I said, no, sir, we need to keep your number because we need to call him to ask some things. Yeah. But it was such a beautiful time talking.
Should I tell them that you cried when I left?
Me did cry? Where did I go?
Yeah, I remember the event. God. I remember Carlene Salmon, who was also programs, right? She was operations manager at the time.
Yes.
Both of us. It was one send off for both of us, and it was just such a
moving.
I won't forget the third God. When I walked into the corridor, that the narrow passage where his office was, right? And he came out to the office. He was coming out to the office same time. And he said, Kelly boy, You kicked me in the shin.
We were family then, and we
Yes,
still
and
are
we're still
family now.
family. We're still
Yes.
family.
Yes. Thank you
Awesome.
so much, Kelly. All the very best. Keep
All right.
shining.
God bless and congratulations on the anniversary. Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
You're my brother.